Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this momentous occasion where we come to celebrate a community servant who has been a real advocate for our justice, peace, and change in this community. Senator Jesse, we thank you for all that you've done and all that you continue to do, and we believe that you're going to be the kind of servant that makes a difference in our community. This time we welcome to the stage Mayor Kevin Jenkins.
So good afternoon, everyone. Come on, that was weak. We're in Oakland. Good afternoon, everyone. So many people are saying Oakland is the crown jewel of the Senate District 7. Jesse didn't say it. He didn't say it. But many people are saying, I think Courtney Welch said it. Greetings, everyone. My name is Kevin Jenkins. I'm the mayor of Oakland, and I couldn't be more thrilled and pleased to stand before you today to give the welcome. I've known Jesse for some time, and I consider Jesse not only a friend, but a mentor. When I have issues or problems that I need help solving, Jesse is always readily available to answer the call. This is before I was mayor. This was before I was council member. This was before I was a Peralta trustee. Jesse has always been there to give a lending hand. And it's because Jesse cares about community service, truly and deeply. He, through and through, he stands on core principle values. I don't think we could have a better representative for the state Senate than Jesse Arreguín. Now, Jesse's been in this work for more than 20 years. And what that it's okay. What that represents is a level of maturity that's needed. When I was 18, 20 years old, you shouldn't let me anywhere near elected office. Probably in my 30s as well. But Jesse is so incredibly principled, and I'm excited for the work that we're going to do to change the outcomes for lives in Senate District 7. We're dealing with homelessness. We're dealing with public safety crises. We're dealing with affordable housing crisis. We're dealing with having to protect our immigrants and our migrants. And Jesse is a leader that is going to stand up and stand for our values. So again, welcome. I'm excited. And let's all have a good time and celebrate our state senator, Jesse Arreguín.
We've got a slight change in the program.
With that, I'll invite the color guard. Oh.
No, yes, right. Yes, sir.
I'll invite the color guard.
Right.
And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
Can we all stand? Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to the Honor Guard for that beautiful tribute. At this time, let us take a moment to reflect and seek blessings as we begin this new chapter in Jesse's life. It is my honor to do the invocation and the blessing. Let us pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks today for your servant, your son, our friend and leader, Jesse. Oh God, we believe that you have ordained his life for such a time as this, to make a difference in the lives of those he has the opportunity to serve. Bless him, oh God. Bless his family as they stand with him. Bless those who serve with him. In turbulent and trying times, we thank you for a servant who cares for your people. Now, oh God, give him the strength to do that which is not only pleasing to you, but makes a difference in the lives of this community, this state, and yes, even this nation. For this is our prayer. In your name we pray. And the people of God said, amen. Next, we take a moment to recognize the land of which we gather. This land holds a deep history as we honor the indigenous people who have cared for it for generations. To share a land acknowledgement, please welcome the Native American Health Center and Miss Karina Gould.
Karina. Good day, everyone. My name is Karina Gould. I'm the chairperson for the Confederated Villages of Lishan Nation, on whose land you're on today. We are in the village of Huchun, and my people have been here since time immemorial. And land acknowledgements are a beautiful thing. They acknowledge the history of what has happened on our lands, and they talk about the suffering of people. But also land acknowledgements we hope to change, that they're not just words that we say, but that there's actions behind those words as we acknowledge the first people on whose land we're on. I want to honor our Senator Jesse Arreguín for doing just that. Before I honor Jesse, I want to thank his parents. I want to thank his parents for raising a young man who had a vision, and for honoring that vision with him, for upholding him and holding him accountable and doing the work that he's supposed to do. As Indigenous people, we talk about our responsibilities to the next 7 generations, and we see that Senator Jesse Arreguín is doing that work today. I've known Jesse for the last 8 years because of work that we've done together. He has worked tirelessly with the Lishan people in order to preserve and protect the oldest village site and cemetery of our people in Berkeley while he was the mayor. For 8 years, he tirelessly did this work. He showed up. He continued to find ways that was going to protect that site. And together, we persevered, and we saved that site for not just the Lishan people, but for everyone that lives in the Bay Area. I want to thank Jesse for that work, but also to know that Jesse is going on to be a senator and that he understands the plight of Indigenous people in California in a very real manner, and that we need those champions in the state to do that work alongside of us, not for us, but with us. And I know that Jesse has that work inside of his heart to do that, to continue to champion not just Indigenous people, but all people that he now serves. And so this land acknowledgement is to acknowledge my ancestors, but to also acknowledge the 7 generations of those yet to be. We are the bridge, those of us that are sitting in this room right now, the bridge between our ancestors from the past and those yet to be born. It is us that make those decisions about what is going to take place next, so that we have a better world for those that are not even here yet. And we hope and pray for Jesse as he does his work to continue to do that on behalf of us and behalf of all of you. And I want to invite my colleague here from Native American Health Center. I am not from that organization. I actually represent not just the Confederated Villages of Lashawn Nation, but the very first urban indigenous women-led land trust in the country, the Segurite Land Trust.
I'll go ahead and wrap this up. As you could tell, Karina's got the words down, so I'll just close us out with a quick song. And that's not just to acknowledge the land, but acknowledge the success, the continued success of the Ohlone people today and into the future. And congratulations to Senator Arreguín.
Poetry has the ability to move us, to challenge us, and to inspire change. It's my honor to introduce Berkeley's youth poet, Anna Marie Jolica.
Hello, my name is Anita Marie Jolica. Thank you. And this is a piece I wrote when I was sitting on BART. I was actually heading into San Francisco for the SATs. And I didn't want to study, so I wrote this instead. But I think today, as I sit in this room, and I think as we all sit here, there's so much love in this room, and as there was so much love on that BART train that day. And it seems like the world is kind of on fire. I think every single day you wake up and you read the Chronicle or the New York Times, and there's just so much to be very upset about. But there's also so much love, and if you look to the people sitting next to you and the people sitting behind you, they all have so much love in them today, and so much love for this community, and for the future that we hope to have. Donde reina el amor, siempre sobran las leyes. I read in thick black Sharpie scribbled onto the walls of a BART train. Where love reigns, all laws are redundant. The man across from me sits wrapped in a Jamaican flag, his arms crossed over his chest as he clutches the tattered fabric. As mercifully as the mother nursing her newborn 3 seats down. As instinctively as the man strumming his guitar at the MacArthur station. As lovingly as the bridge's wind caressed my face the night I found myself in California. The same way all the other men, women, and children before me had found themselves in California. Running from the most insoluble pasts over the most begrimed paths, from the bleakest of regimes and most violent of men, to the West Coast, for a chance to be born again. I cautiously stepped off of a JetBlue flight just 2 years back. My body reeked with 7 hours of sweat, my eyes traced in rings of black. And though the sky howled and the ground quaked and Oakland looked darker than even those very same rings, the claps of thunder sounded more like basses than bombs. And the rain pouring down felt like geysers of hot springs. With a dead iPhone and no map but my own blue veins, California guided me as it did Lupita and the baby on her back, mestizo eyes gazing to the open valley as they fled New Spain. As it did Cesar while she marched through that very same valley soaked in sweat, Dolores chanting Huelga in our Chicano twang. As it poured down on the winter lovers running to the Golden Gate, ready to have and to hold and to dance with champagne, and as it does today while Washington seems to be bursting into flames, the wild deer of Lake Merritt birth sweet baby fawns where love reigns. where the taco trucks of Fruitvale bring way to children dancing boogaloo in the streets, and as pozole drips down the chins of mamas and papas, love is found in the food we eat, where bodies of every shade and hue yearn for justice, their picket signs held high and voices ringing like church bells down College Avenue, our Bay Area tale as old as time. A scene with even more love than the teenagers making out at a Grizzly Peak view. Where the Jimenas and Habibas and Hanas braid each other's tresses with sweet caresses and gentle hands, tied together by friendship bracelets despite this world's condemn, irrevocable love interwoven into each one of their strands. Where boys are free to paint their nails and skate down Telegraph screaming hella this and hella that, where girls can throw footballs and score long-range goals, and right-wing ideologies of Adam and Eve fall flat. Where the softest resistance to their ploys of book banning lie in the little free libraries lining each and every street corner, and in the classrooms of teachers transforming knowledge to power, refusing to indoctrinate despite vicious threats and daunting order. Where a young boy from Fresno's meadows can grow to be Berkeley's first Latino mayor, fighting for workers, for dreamers, for those without a home, turning whispers of hope into resounding prayer. Donde reina el amor, siempre sobran las leyes, I read in thick black Sharpie scribbled onto the walls of a BART train. And though my nails are chewed with consternation and images of the world burning are flashing through my brain, in this very car of a yellow line BART train, there is nothing but love to obtain, because all laws become redundant where love reigns. Thank you.
Wasn't that powerful? Thank you, Anita, for your creativity. And now we have arrived at the moment we have all gathered here for. It is my great honor to introduce California State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond, who will share a few words and then administer the oath of office to our newly elected senator, Senator Jesse. Come on, give him a hand as he comes.
Thank you, Elder Mayberry. Can we get a round of applause for Elder Mayberry as our MC? Because MC means to move the crowd. Thank you for moving the crowd today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Buenos tardes. You know, Elder, I don't know. I feel like that's just a wrap. You know, the senator, we see what you did here. You brought together everything that represents the best of the 7th District in California. We had greetings from our Native American brothers and sisters. We had ballet folklorico. We had mariachi. We had a great poet laureate who needs to go to D.C., and we had some old-fashioned Bay Area crunking going up in here with Destiny Arts. Give the young people another round of applause. Leadership is what you do during times of struggle. And you demonstrated that your values are bringing people together when we are facing so much struggle in the world that gives us hope for what we might do to continue to carry the good news for the people of this great state and all of the people of the 7th District. And I'm proud. That's my senator. That's my senator. I live in the 7th. Come on, y'all. Where else would you want to be? You heard the senator's story and trajectory as the youngest person to serve as the Berkeley mayor, as the first Latino to serve as the mayor of Berkeley, and the first Latino to serve as a senator of the 7th District. We should all be thinking about our ancestors as we think about Jesse as the son and grandson of farm workers with roots to Fresno in the mission, who was marching as a young man, to rename Army Street after Cesar Chavez, one of his heroes. The senator is a person who jumps into action. He will not remember this, but several years ago, my daughter, who's going to turn 19 in just a few months, noticed that there were some unhoused folks who were also unsheltered, and it was raining. And she said, "Dad, what are we going to do about that?" And it was in Berkeley. And I picked up the phone, and I called the mayor, and he took the call, and he led some actions to provide more support for those unhoused people. That's what he does. He jumps into action. And no sooner than he became the senator for our district, and I saw him in Sacramento, and I said, we'd like to have someone who would champion a bill that would allow us to build 2 million housing units for folks in the state of California. He said, I'm in. I'm the author of your bill. Because that's what he does. He jumps in as a leader in Berkeley. He's led to support those who are unhoused. He's led to build affordable housing. And you are the leader that we need at this time. And so what I ask of all of you is to be on that journey with him and to support him and his family. Are y'all down for that? Because everyone's going to be coming at him now, asking this and that and this and that. And it is all of our jobs to have his back and keep him focused. It is our job to support him and his family. It is our job to support him and Deanna, his partner, and to make sure that we stay with him on the journey. Y'all ready? Yeah. Raise your right hand, crowd. Raise your right hand. Let me swear you in. If you were down for Senator Arreguín, let me hear you say, yeah. And you will stay on his journey. Let me hear you say, oh, yeah. Okay, well, let's get this on. Come on, Senator, let's swear you in. Okay, this is for the oath of State Senator of the 7th District in California. If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jesse Arreguín,
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
do solemnly swear
Or affirm.
or affirm
That I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. Presenting to you your state senator, Jesse Arreguín.
Ladies and gentlemen, our state senator, Jesse Arreguín.
I almost forgot to say What I meant to say is there's a lot of whereases on this proclamation from the state of California. Rather than read them all, let's just say that today is Jesse Arreguín Day. Congratulations to our state senator.
Well, good afternoon, Oakland. It's so great to see so many family, friends, and colleagues here at the Oakland Museum on this beautiful day to help start my term in the California State Senate. And it is truly the honor of my life to stand before you as your state senator representing the town and the greater East Bay. And I am so excited to be your senator. This is really one of the best regions in the state. And throughout my campaign last year, I got to know and visit every one of our 14 cities in Senate District 7. I was privileged to speak with thousands of people about their priorities and concerns. And I go to Sacramento every week to fight for you and our shared progressive values at a time when we need it most. Before I begin my remarks, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge a few special guests here today. First, the people who literally created me. My mother, Cindy Arreguín, and my father, Humberto Arreguín, here in the front row. Without their eternal love and support, I would not be standing here today as your state senator. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for always being there for me and helping me get here. This is your victory, too. I also want to acknowledge and thank the love of my life who helped swear me in today, my fiancée, Diana Delphine Polk. Who is also an elected official in her own right as an elected trustee for Area 6 on the Peralta Community College Board of Trustees. Shout out for the Peralta Colleges. Thank you, Diana, for your love and support throughout the campaign last year. Thank you for not killing me during the campaign. Thank you for always being there last year and every day. I also want to acknowledge Diana's mom, Eve Delphine, also here in the front row, who helped organize today's events with my staff, and her husband, Armando Foster. And I also want to give a shout out to Diana's grandmother, who's here, former Berkeley School Board member, Martha Acevedo, who helped create the first ethnic studies program in the state of California. In addition to my family, there are many elected officials joining us here today. I will acknowledge you and thank you so much for spending time to be here to celebrate the start of my term as your representative in the California State Senate. But I first want to thank our Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, for swearing me into office today. And for your years of friendship and partnership. We are all grateful for your work on behalf of our kids in schools in California. And as the superintendent talked about, one bill that we are working on together is SB 502, which would set aside funding to help jumpstart workforce housing for teachers and school district employees in California. We know that the high cost of living makes it difficult to recruit and retain teachers in our state. And so with SB 502, we can help get school districts to build homes to keep our teachers in the communities that they serve. I also want to thank my colleague in the California legislature, Assemblymember Mia Bonta, representing 8018, for being here today. And I know we have staff from my colleague, Assemblymember Buffy Wicks, here as well. Her district director, Elaf Youssef, thank you for joining us as well. I'm lucky to work with such visionary leaders to help deliver for the East Bay. I also want to recognize the many county and city and special district elected officials here today. And I'm just going to read off a list. We can hold our applause until we go through the list. So from the city of Richmond, Councilmember Jamila Brown, Councilmember Cesar Zepeda, Councilmember Sohaila Bana. From the city of San Pablo, Councilmember Abel Pineda, Rita Xavier, and Patricia Ponce. From the city of Hercules, Dili Batari. From the city of El Cerrito, we have the former mayor, Tessa Rudnick, and I believe we may have other representatives here as well. Representing Contra Costa County Supervisor John Joya, Sonia Bustamante. From the city of Oakland, the interim mayor, Kevin Jenkins, who welcomed us today. And from the city of Berkeley, my successor, Mayor Adina Ishii. Thank you for joining us. And my colleagues, I miss you. Councilmember Terry Taplin, Councilmember Ben Bartlett, Councilmember Shoshana O'Keefe, Councilmember Brent Blackaby, and Councilmember Mark Humbert. From the city of Alameda, the mayor of Alameda, Marilyn Ashcraft, and Councilmember Greg Bowler. From the city of Emeryville, the former mayor, you're always going to be the mayor, Councilmember Courtney Welch. From the city of Albany, Councilmember and Vice Mayor Peggy McQuaid and Councilmember John Mickey. From the city of Piedmont, the mayor, Betsy Smeagol Anderson, Vice Mayor Connor McCarthy, and Councilmember Jennifer Long. And from the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, my supervisor, Councilmember Nikki Bass, and I know we have Councilmember Lena Tam here as well. From the Contra Costa County Board of Education, trustee for Area 2, Sarah Butler. From the Berkeley Unified School District Board of Education, Khadijah Brown, president of the school board, and former trustee, Laura Babbitt. From the Peralta Colleges, Diana Delphine Polk and Shawit Johannes. And very honored to have him here today. I believe he's still here. The new chancellor of the University of California, Berkeley, my alma mater, Rich Lyons, just joined us. And I'll just say that one of the things I'm really proud of is not only to be an alum of the best public university in the world, UC Berkeley, no offense to anyone else, but to have helped create a historic partnership with UC Berkeley during my time as mayor that I know my colleagues and our mayor are continuing to build on. Representing the Bay Area Rapid Transit District, Robert Rayburn and Victor Flores. From the East Bay Regional Park District, newly elected Director Luana Espana. From the Port of Oakland, the President, Michael Cobruno, and Stephanie Dominguez-Walton. And I think that's everyone. Did I miss anyone? Building Trades, Andreas Kluver. And I know representing my friend, Igor Trega, his Chief of Staff, Olga Bolotina. And Councilmember Cecilia Lumapara. And former Councilmember Sophie Hahn. And we have representatives of the Richmond Mayor's Office as well. And Keith Brown, the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Alameda Labor Council. Thank you for being here. So, with those acknowledgments done, I will continue. We definitely have a quorum. We're not going to conduct any business here today. Oh, there's no Brown Act in the legislature, by the way. That's very interesting. So I am so proud to live in the East Bay, proudly one of the most progressive regions in the country, and the home of so many social movements that have changed the course of our state and our country. The free speech movement, the Black Panther movement, the disability rights movement, just to name a few. And as a son and grandson of farm workers and a lifelong activist, it was that incredible history of social activism that drew me across the Bay to Berkeley to get my degree and to plant roots here. And over 20 years later, after serving as a city council member, mayor, and regional leader, I'm proud to continue our region's tradition of progressive leadership. We have always stood up to fighting against injustice and advancing our progressive values. And this moment will be our biggest test. Whether we will stand up to fascism and defend our democracy. Will we protect our undocumented neighbors from deportation? Will we defend our transgender and LGBTQ plus Californians and their rights? Will we protect healthcare access and reproductive choice? Will we defend our environment? Ladies and gentlemen, everything is on the line. And I'm ready to fight every day for you and for our state. In a strange turn of events, I was first elected Berkeley's mayor on the same night Trump was first elected. And I led Berkeley through the first Trump presidency. Building on our history, the East Bay led the resistance in 2017 when our communities were under attack by Trump and also by far-right groups including those who will go on to attack our federal capital on January 6, 2021. We remember that. But instead of capitulating, our community rose to the occasion and fought hate with love, fought intolerance with acceptance, and violence with peace. We launched the United Against Hate campaign, which went on became a nationwide movement. We strengthened our status as a sanctuary city and worked with immigration groups and our undocumented community to create rapid response networks. When climate regulations were gutted federally, we expanded them. When we were told that COVID would amount to nothing, including by our president, and it would quickly disappear, we know that was not the case, Berkeley and the East Bay took action to protect our community. I am proud of what we accomplished in Berkeley, and I'm ready to bring all of that I've learned to make a difference in Sacramento. Now, fast forward 8 years to today, and it feels like deja vu. And I was elected to the state senate the night Trump was also reelected. But let me be clear. Just as the resistance was successful 8 years ago, we too will prevail again. And I recognize the pain and fear in the community, especially among our immigrant and refugee communities and transgender and LGBTQ plus neighbors. But here is my promise to you. I will not abandon you. The state of California will not abandon you. Our community will not abandon you. One of my first votes when I was elected, and I'm very proud to have taken this vote, was to approve $50 million of emergency funding to our Attorney General to challenge unjust executive orders and policies from the federal government, such as the attack on birthright citizenship and efforts to freeze federal grants. Remember, these are our taxpayer dollars that we deserve. And so I want to just acknowledge the leadership of our Attorney General, Rob Bonta, for taking swift and decisive action to protect our tax dollars, to protect our values, to protect our residents. Let's give our Attorney General a round of applause for his leadership. The escalation of Trump's mass deportation agenda means that we have to act quickly and decisively to protect our undocumented neighbors. And part of that $50 million that we approved was $25 million for legal aid for our nonprofit legal providers to provide legal representation and education defense for our undocumented neighbors. This $25 million, in my opinion, is a down payment, which I'm committed to increase when we adopt our state budget in June. We've been hard at work over the past 3 months crafting our bill package, which reflects many of your priorities. And one bill I'm especially proud of is SB 81, which would bar hospitals and health facilities from sharing information on immigration status with federal immigration officials. And stop them from entering the non-public areas and health facilities or questioning or arresting someone while they're getting care. And so I'm working to move this quickly through our legislative process so we can expand these critical protections now, and I will need your help. While California remains committed to responding to the threats posed to our residents by the federal government, we also have our share of challenges to resolve. When I ran for Senate last year, you told me that housing affordability, homelessness, public safety, the insurance crisis, and wildfire safety were your key concerns. They are my top priorities as your senator. This year has been anything but normal. And in addition to the new administration in Washington, the catastrophic wildfires which destroyed communities in Southern California show that urban wildfires are the new reality and that we need to take action to protect communities throughout our state year-round. The state has swiftly responded to January's devastating wildfires in Los Angeles, both in supporting impacted communities and in taking long-term steps to protect our state. The legislature and the governor stepped up by allocating $2.5 billion to accelerate recovery efforts. And additionally, Democrats in both the Assembly and the Senate have introduced a variety of bills to support response, recovery, and wildfire resilience. I'm committed to working with my colleagues throughout the state to increase funding for fuel reduction, to support home hardening through grants and tax incentives, and to expand our firefighting force so we can respond to threats quickly. Recovery efforts from the LA wildfires have placed also a spotlight on California's housing affordability crisis. And over the past decade, 80,000 homes have been built annually across the state, far below the 180 needed to meet existing demand. One of the areas of success has been the development of accessory dwelling units, or what are called ADUs. Virtually unheard of before 2016, ADUs now account for 1 in 5 new housing units in the state. They are a more affordable and economic way of increasing housing supply in our neighborhoods and can be beneficial to tenants and small property owners alike. That's why the first bill I introduced on day one, that I was sworn in December 2nd, was SB 9, which aims to remove bureaucratic red tape by making it easier to permit ADUs in our state. We can resolve our housing affordability crisis, but it requires that we have to address what I call the 3 Ps: producing new housing, preserving affordable housing, and protecting our neighbors from displacement. We're also moving forward on several other housing bills to streamline the approval process. And I'm also proud to co-author the $10 billion affordable housing bond that we are seeking to get on the state ballot next year. And I hope to have your support for that housing bond. Another issue that's important to Californians is public safety. And as the newly appointed chair of the Senate Public Safety Committee, it is a major priority for me as well. As mayor, I launched a regional public safety partnership to address crime in the East Bay and improve intercity coordination. As senator, I will continue those efforts. And our public safety landscape has admittedly changed with the recent passage of Proposition 36. Now, I recognize that many people in our district oppose Prop 36. I was one of them. Yet the people of California have spoken. I believe this presents an opportunity to implement it in a way that addresses the root causes of crime without resorting to overly punitive measures. We need to focus on drug and mental health treatment and rehabilitation instead of retribution, and to reprimand those who deal drugs such as fentanyl instead of the people whose addiction that they exploit. And we also need to rein in gun violence, which has risen nationwide since the pandemic. One aspect of the rise in gun violence is the proliferation of ghost guns, which are untraceable and can be assembled at home. And I partnered with the Brady campaign to introduce a bill, SB 704, that will regulate the gun barrels that are used to create ghost guns as a way to get ghost guns off the street in California and to make our neighborhoods safer. And I ask for your support of that bill as well. As the pandemic highlighted and as our population ages, healthcare is becoming a more critical issue. And here in the East Bay, we were at risk of losing another hospital. In 2016, Sutter Health announced its intention to close Alta Bates in Berkeley by 2030. And such a loss would eliminate key services, including emergency care, used by our entire region, as well as the birthing and delivery ward. Alta Bates is known as the birthplace of the East Bay. After years of advocacy, including advocacy that many of you were engaged in, I'm pleased to announce that recently Sutter has agreed to build a new medical center, including a full-service emergency room in Emeryville. And this will ensure that residents will be able to maintain a high level of health care in a state-of-the-art facility. But more important than health care access in our region is the overall health care landscape in California. As we know, the recent congressional budget blueprint proposes significant cuts in Medicaid, which would decimate funding for our state Medi-Cal program. And I want to lift up the leadership of Assemblymember Bonta, who chairs the Assembly Health Committee, is helping lead the fight to protect our Medi-Cal program in California. So they want to make significant cuts to Medicaid, all to give millionaires even greater tax breaks at the expense of people's health. That's right, boo. As the newly appointed chair of the Senate Human Services Committee, I'm acutely aware of the impact this will have on a wide range of social services that our most vulnerable Californians rely on, including our children. Let me be clear. We will fight every step of the way to defend Medicaid and ensure access for all Californians to health care. And speaking of healthcare, let's give a shout out to our healthcare providers who've sacrificed so much to keep us safe during the pandemic. The pandemic showed us just how important these essential workers are. Unfortunately, our frontline healthcare workers, including nurses, nursing assistants, and other healthcare providers, do not have the same labor rights as other essential workers. They literally risk their lives to care us if we get sick, but if they get sick, there's no guarantee that their workplace-induced illness will be covered by workers' compensation. That's wrong. And that's why I'm working with the California Nurses Association to introduce SB 632 to extend workers' comp coverage for hospital workers and healthcare workers who get sick on the job. Let's protect them too. Transportation plays a critical role in our region's economy, and public transit is relied upon by many of our residents, from young people, essential workers, seniors, persons with disabilities. Yet since the pandemic, our transit agencies are in an existential crisis as ridership has dropped and therefore funding is plummeted. Significant cuts to public transit, we know, will cripple our region and put us further behind in our efforts to combat climate change. We must not allow that to happen. That's why I'm leading efforts to secure $2 billion of state funding to save transit throughout California, and co-authoring a bill with my colleague, Senator Scott Wiener, to authorize a regional funding measure in 2026 to provide ongoing funding to keep the buses and trains running in the Bay Area. So in closing, we live in an era of great challenge, but also great opportunity. The federal administration may serve at the behest of the ultra-rich and unelected oligarchs like Elon Musk, but in California, our government is here to serve the people. And as a public official, I have a sworn duty to serve and protect you, the people that I was elected to represent. No illegal overreach of presidential power will stop me from doing that. And that big book that my fiance was holding, that's the state constitution. And so I took an oath today on our Constitution for a reason. I was sworn to protect it. Let's turn our challenges into opportunity. As we have before, the East Bay in California can continue to be a leader in addressing climate change and harnessing the newest technology to create a cleaner, more resilient environment. We can advance best practices on housing and homelessness to help get people off the street and into housing stability while creating pathways for homeownership. We can work together to address the root causes of crime, and we can build an economy that works for all of us. Thank you so much for joining me as we begin this journey. California is known throughout the world as a place of opportunity, home to incredible natural beauty and abundant resources. And here in the East Bay, we have a deep and cherished history of activism, innovation, and culture that weaves together the great diversity of our region. Let us continue this legacy together. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, for your inspiring words and your unwavering commitment to our communities. As we close today's ceremony, we're reminded that leadership is not about one person. It's about all of us, working together, striving for a better future. Senator, on behalf of all of us here today, we thank you for your service, for your vision, and for your dedication. Hasn't this been a marvelous celebration today? To officially conclude, Senator, we welcome you for your closing remarks.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. As we exit, upstairs we have on the terrace refreshments and live jazz music from the Berkeley High Jazz Quartet. I just want to just acknowledge that every performance we had today represents, as the superintendent of public instruction said, the incredible diversity of our district. From our mariachi group from the city of Richmond to our dance group from the city of Oakland, and from our ballet folklorico group from Fremont High School in East Oakland. And we really just want to showcase how amazing this district and this region is, and really uplift the incredible work of our young people as well. So please join us upstairs for refreshments. In closing, I just want to thank the many people who helped make today's event possible. My friend and colleague, Mayor Jenkins, for welcoming us today. Our esteemed MC, the presiding elder of the Bay Valley District of the AME Church, Pastor Mayberry. Thank you. We're honored to have you here today. And to help MC today's event, I want to just thank all the people who presented today, from Karina Gould and the Confederated Villages of Lejeune, to the Native American Health Center, our talented performers, including the Destiny Arts Youth Performance Company of Oakland, Mariachi Flor de Oro from Richmond, and the incredible Youth Poet Laureate from the city of Berkeley. That was an incredibly moving, beautiful piece. Anita Maria Julka, thank you for being here today. A heartfelt thank you to the Oakland Museum of California, its dedicated workers, and everyone who helped put this event together. I want to thank my staff, my district director, Ariana Casanova, who helped make today happen. And finally, thank you to our beautiful East Bay community for being here today. This is a moment of celebration for all of us and our common struggle defending and standing up for Californians in our neediest communities. And so let's leave inspired and ready to take the challenge to work together to create a better East Bay and state of California. Lastly, today is International Women's Day. So I want to acknowledge and lift up all the women, including the women leaders here, powerful women leaders here, including my mom, who make our state what it is. So thank you all for being here, and look forward to working with you for the years to come. Thank you very much.